Welcome to Movie Lover News, the #1 movie news show on Earth. I'm your host Tyrone Rubin. I'm doing the show with Alex. I just saw the trailer for the new film Jane Eyre, being directed by Cary Fukunaga. It stars Maya Wasikowska, Michael Fassbender, Jamie Bell, Judi Dench, Holiday Granger, Sally Hawkins, Tamsin Merchant, and Imogen Poots. It's been released next year, 2011, on the 11th of March. Jane Eyre is based on the famous novel by Charlotte Brontë, which was first published in 1847. There have been numerous films made about Jane Eyre, television shows made about Jane Eyre. This looks very interesting. It looks quite dark. The director, Cary Fukunaga, directed a film Sin Nombre in 2009, a Mexican film, which was very, very interesting, pretty hardcore. So I think he's taken a very serious look at this film. I didn't know too much about the literature, so I read a little bit about it. Jane Eyre, the novel, goes through 5 distinct stages. Jane's childhood at Gateshead, where she is emotionally and physically abused by her aunt and cousins. Her education at Lowood School, where she acquires friends and role models, but also suffers privations. Her time as the governess of Thornhill Hall, where she falls in love with her employer, Edward Rochester. Her time with the Rivers family at Marsh's End, and Morton, where her cold clergyman cousin St. John Rivers proposes to her, and her reunion with her marriage to her beloved Edward Rochester. Partly autobiographical, the novel abounds with social criticism. It is a novel considered ahead of its time. In spite of the dark, brooding elements, it has a strange sense of right and wrong, of morality at its core. So it's a very, very, very popular work, Jane Eyre, and it's very interesting to see it being adapted. It looks beautiful, it looks very interesting. The 3 stars I'm just going to talk a little bit about who lead this film, Maya Wasikowska, Michael Fassbender, and Jamie Bell, are huge, huge stars on the rise at the moment. And I'm actually following all of them in my shows and the films that they're doing. Maya Wasikowska, who's playing Jane Eyre. Michael Fassbender plays Edward Rochester. Jamie Bell plays St. John. Imogen Poots plays Blanche Ingram. Judi Dench plays Mrs. Fairfax. And Sally Hawkins plays Mrs. Reed. Maya Wasikowska, who I've mentioned is a massive star right now, was in this year's Alice in Wonderland, where she played the lead role Alice. She was also in an independent film, which is excellent, called The Kids Are Alright, where she played Joni. She's in a film due out next year on the 28th of January called Restless. The trailer for this film is out online. It's by a very talented director, Gus Van Sant. The story of a terminally ill teenage girl who falls for a boy who likes to attend funerals, and their encounters with the ghost of a Japanese kamikaze pilot from World War II. Michael Fassbender, who's in a lot of films at the moment. He was in Inglourious Bastards in 2009, where he played Lieutenant Archie Hickox. This year he was in Centurion, he was in Jonah Hex. He's in a film due out next year called At Swim 2 Birds. It stars Cillian Murphy, Colin Farrell, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Gabriel Byrne. It's got an interesting premise. It's about a playwright's life who begins to mingle with the fictional characters he has created. He's also in a film which I've followed, which is one of the most anticipated films for me right now. It's by director David Cronenberg, called The Dangerous Method. It's a look at how the intense relationships between Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud give birth to psychoanalysis. And Dangerous Method stars Viggo Mortensen as Sigmund Freud, Keira Knightley as Sabina Spelrin, Michael Fassbender plays Carl Jung, and Vincent Cassel plays Otto Gross. Michael Fassbender is also in Steven Soderbergh's next film called Haywire, which stars Channing Tatum, Michael Douglas, Ewan McGregor, Antonio Banderas, and Bill Paxton. Michael Fassbender is also in the new X-Men film due out on the 3rd of June, X-Men First Class. Michael Fassbender plays Eric Lenscher, Magneto. And it's rumored that Michael Fassbender might star in the 2 Hobbit films. Jamie Bell, who's in Jane Eyre, is in a film due out next year on the 25th of February called The Eagle with Channing Tatum and Mark Strong. He's in a film called Retreat with Tunde Newton and Cillian Murphy. And he's in Steven Spielberg's directed film The Adventures of Tintin, The Secrets of the Unicorn, which is due out at the end of next year, where Jamie Bell plays Tintin, Daniel Craig plays Red Rackham, Simon Pegg plays Inspector Thompson, and Andy Serkis plays Captain Haddock. And Jamie Bell is busy filming a film right now called Man on a Ledge. So these three actors, Maya Wasikowska, Michael Fassbender and Jamie Bell are huge stars right now, so it's obviously going to be a huge draw for this film, Jane Eyre, which is due out on the 11th of March. Personally, on my excitement meter, this film sits at around a 7. I'm not that excited to see it, but maybe in time I will grow excited to see it. Maybe I'll read a bit of Jane Eyre before I watch the film. So that's Jane Eyre, directed by Cary Fukunaga and based on the literary work by Charlotte Brontë.